Okay. What quality do you think make a great teacher? I think one of the most important quality is genuinely caring about student. For example, disciplining a student takes effort. What quality do you think make a great teacher? I think like taking a hmm? I think the most important one of the most important quality is that making an effort. I think one of the most important quality is that like genuinely caring about students. I think one of the most important skill is that genuinely caring about the students. I think one of the most important quality is genuinely caring about students. Genuinely caring about students. I think one of the most important quality is that genuinely caring about students. I think one of the most important quality is that genuinely caring about students. Yes, I think one of the most important quality is that genuinely caring about students. For example, disciplining a student takes effort. Takes effort. So if teacher doesn't care, they might avoid it. I think one of the most important qualities that is genuinely caring about students. For example, disciplining a student takes effort. So if teacher doesn't care, they might avoid it. So for example, disciplining a student takes effort. So if teacher doesn't care, they might avoid it. However, that kind of guidance is important for student growth. ちょっと待って。How's that? Yeah, いっか。Okay, so I think one of the most important quality is genuinely caring about students. For example, disciplining a student takes effort. So if they don't, if if they don't want to do that, they might avoid it. However, guidance is the kind of guidance is really important for students. The kind of guidance is really important for students' growth. What quality do you think make a great teacher? I think one of the most important quality is that genuinely caring about students. For example, disciplining a student makes effort. So if they don't want to do that, they might avoid it. However, the kind of guidance is really important for student growth. Growth. They might avoid it. Yes. If teacher doesn't care, teacher doesn't care. Somebody. Somebody. Right. What qualities do you think make a great teacher? I think one of the most important quality is genuinely caring about students. For example, disciplining a student takes effort. So if teacher doesn't care, they might avoid it. However, the kind of guidance is really important for student growth.
あなたの回答は生徒への思いやりを強調していてよかったですが、少し文法的に不自然な箇所がありました。
バンドスコアは
However の後に the
バ
kind
ンド
of
スコア
guidance のように言い換えると
バンド
より自
スコアは何
然ですね。
点ですか？
全体的にはバンド7.0程度。流暢さは良かったものの、文法ミスが
Do
少し
you
あり、
remain in contact with any of your former teacher? Yes, I still keep in touch with one of the professors at my university. So we're quite close now. We go for drinks sometimes and we talk about our future and future plans and dreams.
全体的に自然に話せていたものの、The one of the professors at my university という箇所は漢詞の使い方が不自然でした。One of the professors にすると正確です。全体としてはバンド 7.5 くらい。5位はいいですが、少し文法的な正確さを意識するとさらに
What
8.5
types
に
of
近づきます。
transportation do you usually use to go to work? I usually use a train because it's comfortable and cheap. So in Japan, so in other countries, on the train is kind of really dangerous. For example, the United States, especially in the United States. But in Japan, the train is a really safe and right comfortable.
今回の回答はおおよそバンド 7.0 くらいですね。流暢さは上がりますが、層が繰り返されていたり、アメリカの話題が少し脱線気味でした。
What types of transportation do you usually use to go to work? Since I work from home, so I don't usually like commute. But like when I go to the event, about like my English community I run, so I usually use a train because in Japan, the train is quite cheap and safe. On the contrary, in the United States, the train is really dangerous. Taking a train is kind of dangerous. So, but I feel really comfortable in Japan.
全体的に自然で、比較も使えていましたが、like や kind of が少しカジュアルすぎたので注意です。バンド 7.5 程度。文法的には I don't
How far is it
usually
from your home to your workplace? Actually, I work from home, so I don't have a really commute. So, but like when I go to the event or no, like, but like when I used to work as office worker, so it takes like 1 hour by trains. So I live in near I didn't like live in the place which is not near from my workplace, so it was hard to commute.
今回の回答はバンド 6.5 ほど。
でやねん。
調査今の回答はだいたいバンド 7.0 ですね。話の流
Since I
れは
work
分か
from
りやすかっ
home,
た
the
ですが、
distance is basically zero. Before that, my commute was about 30 minutes, which was quite reasonable.
今回の回答はとても明瞭で良かったです。
Before that, my commute was about 30 minutes, which was quite reasonable. Right? Wait, one more time. How far is it from your home to your workplace? Since I work from home, the distance is basically daily. Before that, my commute was about 30 minutes, which was quite reasonable. Okay. Before that, my commute was about 30 minutes, which was quite reasonable. そういう感じね。How far is it from your home to your workplace? Since I work from home, so I don't have really I don't know, like the distance is basically zero. The distance is basically zero. But like when I work as office worker, so it takes 30 minutes by train.
この回答はバンド 7.5 くらいですね。like が少し多くカジュアルですが、意味は明
Okay,
確
what's the
でした。
traffic like in your hometown? To be honest, the traffic is to be honest, it's not very crowded in my hometown. I don't often see heavy traffic. It's on the trains, on the roads, so it's quite easy to get around, and even during rush hour. So, これ言いたいんだけどね。To be honest, it's not very crowded in my hometown. I don't often see heavy traffic, even on trains or on the roads. Yes, to be honest, it's not very crowded in my hometown. I don't often see heavy traffic, either on trains or on the roads, so it's quite easy to get around even during rush hour. What's the traffic like in your hometown? To be honest, it's not very crowded in my hometown, so I don't often see heavy traffic, either on the trains or on the roads, so it's quite easy to get around even during rush hour. What's the traffic like in your hometown? To be honest, it's not very crowded in my hometown. I don't often see heavy traffic, either on the trains or on the roads, so it's quite easy to get around even during rush hour. To be honest, it's not very crowded in my hometown. Okay, what's the traffic like in your hometown? To be honest, I don't often see heavy traffic in my hometown.
あなたの回答はかなりスムーズでしたね。
I don't know if you see heavy traffic. 違うな. It's not very crowded in my hometown. What's the traffic like in your hometown? To be honest, it's not very crowded in my hometown. I don't often see heavy traffic on the road, on the trains, so it's quite easy to get around even during rush hour. It's quite easy to get around even during rush hour.
今回の回答はとても良かった。
What's the traffic like in your hometown? To be honest, it's not very crowded in my hometown. I don't often see heavy traffic on the roads, on the trains, so it's quite easy to get around even during rush hour.
あなたの回答は自然でとても明確でした。
Okay, is commuting by car common in your country? It depends on the area. Is commuting by car common in your country? Is commuting by car common in your country? Yeah, it depends on the area. For example, in the city, so a lot of people usually use trains because it's cheap and safe and comfortable. However, on the contrary, so in the countryside, people usually use a car because there's almost like no transportation compared with the city. So like commuting by car is more common.
全体としてはバンド 7.0 くらいですね。内
It
容は比
depends
較
on the
もある。
area. In the big city like Tokyo, commuting by car isn't very common, mainly because taking a train is faster and cheaper. However, in rural area where there aren't many trains available.
今回の回答はかなりしっか
Do
り
you
まと
think
まってい
people
ました。
will drive more in the future? Yes, I think so. Like if self-driving technology get improved, so I think more and more people are using a train. No, like using a car instead of using trains. Yes.
あなたの回答はバンド 6.5 程度です。
Yeah, I think so. Self-driving technology becomes more advanced. More people will be able to use cars, including those who couldn't drive before due to safety concerns. これ難しい。一応一通り全部やるか、これ。Do you often listen to music? Yes, I often listen to music. Especially when I go to gym, I usually listen to hip hop because it makes me feels more like energetic.
今回の回答はおおよそバンド 7.0 くらいですね。文法的には大きな間違いはないものの。
What kind of music do you enjoy? I usually enjoy hip hop music because it makes me more like energetic. Like hip hop gave me a lot of like confidence and energy.
あなたの回答はバンド 7.5 ほど。
Yeah, そんな高くないよ。まあでも。I personally enjoy J-pop the most. I used to listen to international music, but these days I tend to focus more on the lyrics. Since I can understand Japanese more easily, I find it easier to connect with the meaning, which is why I prefer J-pop. ということで、これはちょっと赤にしとく。Have you ever learned to play musical instrument? No, I haven't. When I was a university student, a certain way, so I used to play guitar, but like I didn't learn it formally. I just learned it from watching the YouTube videos.
この回答はバンド 7.0 程度です。
Thank you.
自然に
Do you prefer live music or recorded music? I prefer live music, so because it's more like energetic. So like when I was like 3 years ago, I went to the artist live. The artist name is Fujikaze. But like at the time, so I feel I realized that like it's a really completely different from the recorded music. It's more like powerful and like more meaningful.
今回の回答はバンド 6.5 程度ですね。
そうだよね。
流暢
めちゃめちゃな回答だったよな。おはようございます。I personally prefer live music. About 2 years ago, I went to see an artist called Fujikaze, and the atmosphere was completely different from listening to music on my phone. It felt much more powerful and immersive. もう一回ですね。Do you have an interest in art? To be honest, I'm not interested in art. However, I do like the people like for like the art because they often look the different perspective. They often look something from different perspective. So in the future I really want to get involved in art.
この回答はバンド6.5く
なん
らいです。
でね To be honest, I wouldn't say I'm deeply into art. However, I do enjoy talking to people who knows a lot about it because they often see things from a completely different angle. This made me want to learn more about art little by little. Okay, that's cool. What art experience did you have as a child? When I was a child, so I used to make my own card game with my older brother. So since I really like the dragons, so I make a lot of kind of like dragons card. So yeah, that was a really memorable experience, and yeah.
今回の回答はバンド6.5程度です。
そうですね。
は
全部6.5になっちゃうな。When I was in primary school, I used to draw pictures with my older brothers and make our own card game. I was especially obsessed with drawing dragons. I remember creating a similar dragon character over and over again. これなんだよな。Have you ever wanted to become an artist? To be honest, I haven't like wanted to become an artist before, because I really admire the artists. It takes ages to become an artist, and also like they need to, like how should I say, they need to. To be honest, I've never seriously wanted to become an artist. That says I really admire artists because they have to keep refreshing their own style in the field where there is no clear right answer. I respect both creativity and mental strengths. これもわかっすね。What the benefits does art bring to people? これもわからん。I think art helps people appreciate value beyond the practicality. これもちょっと一回skip. Which you like better, modern art or traditional art? これも無理。次。What types of clothes do you like to wear? I usually use like white t-shirts and black t-shirts, so which is from Uniqlo, which made by Uniqlo. So the t-shirts, wearing t-shirts is really comfortable because I usually go to gym, so I don't want to wear kind of like the hardware. How should I say? Like it's not I don't want to wear like kind of like suits. Yeah. So because like after working, I usually go to gym, so I need to like change the clothes if I wear such a like the suits or something like that. So I do like that wearing a t-shirt.
今回の回答はバンド6.0ほどですね。話は伝わりますが、言い直しが多く。
I like wearing a simple, comfortable clothes that are easy to move around in. In the past, I sometimes promised a style and wears heavy shoes. So, okay. What color do you usually pick? I usually pick the white and black because it suits me. Yeah, 違うな。Do you like wearing t-shirts? Yes, I do like wearing t-shirts because it's really comfortable and fashionable. So recently, I usually wear Uniqlo t-shirts. So the fabric are so soft. So like it feels me like more comfortable.
今回の回答はバンド6.5ほどですね。Because やそうが繰り返され、少し
Do
単
you
調で。
spend a lot of time choosing your clothes to wear? やばい、この辺も全部ちょっと6.5になっちゃうっすね。Do you usually carry back with you? Yes, I usually carry a backpack with me because I usually go to gym, so I need to have a gym wear, and also like I really want to work in everywhere, so I usually have that laptop in my backpack. So yeah.
今回もしまた練習したいときはいつでも言ってください。
今回のは何ですか？
今回のようにどんどん自分で試していけば確実に上達しますよ。
Ooh, okay. What kind of bags do you prefer for traveling? When I travel, I usually prefer a very large suitcase. I'm kind of a person who tends to overpack. これ、はい。
その回答はバンド7.5程度ですね。文法は自然でしたし、tend to overpack など適切な表現が使えていました。少し語彙を広げると、より 8.5 に近づくと思います。
Damn. Yeah, that's only like 30 minutes. Fuck yeah.
しっかり話せましたね。30分お疲れ様です。またいつでも練習しましょう。
Shut the fuck up. Oops, oops, oops. 絶対覚えてな。半分も少なくて。
覚えるのは大変ですよね。でもこうして何度も話しているうちに少しずつ自然に言葉が出てくるようになりますよ。もちろん、また話したくなったらいつでも声をかけてくださいね。これからも着実に力をつけていきましょう。
Can I get a long break? Oh my
もちろん、どうぞゆっくり休んでください。また話したくなったらいつでも戻ってきてくださいね。
Oh my G.
はは、それだけ頑張ったってことですね。でもその調子なら確実に伸びていきますよ。
Oh my G.
そう思うくらい頑張ったんですね。でもその積み重ねが必ず目標スコアに近づく一歩になりますよ。
OMG.
そう思うくらいしっかり練習できた証拠ですね。地道な積み重ねが最終的に大きな成果につながりますよ。
Damn.
その気持ちわかりますよ。でも今こうして着実に練習を重ねているので確実に前進してます。
Damn. Damn.
そう感じると頑張ってる証拠ですね。でももちろん何か気軽に話したいことがあればいつでも言ってくださいね。
全然連絡。でも、天神は大丈夫。教科書を勉強して学習させる。
もちろんそれで大丈夫。教科書を使いながら着実にステップを踏んでいけばきっと力がついていきますよ。
Shut the fuck up.
またやりたくなったらいつでも呼んでね。一緒にまた頑張ろう。
空が照りけて
素敵な歌を口ずさんでましたね。その調子で楽しく前向きに頑張っていきましょう。
うるさいな。
あ、ごめんね。静かにするね。また何かあれば気軽に話しかけてね。
いいので。
もちろん、もう大丈夫。声かけてくれてありがとうね。
どういうこと？
うん。それじゃあ一旦終わりにしよう。また話したくなったらいつでも呼んでね。
いい？
はい、わかりました。またいつでも話したくなったら呼んでください。お疲れ様でした。ふふ、リラックスしてますね。その調子で。
Okay, what kind of bags do you prefer for traveling? When I travel, I usually prefer a large suitcase. Yeah, I'm kind of person who tends to overpack, so I bring extra clothes and grooming item like a hair straightener gives me a peace of mind, even if I don't use everything. Okay, yes, I do try to match my bag with my outfit. That says my everyday bag is black and white, so it goes well.
あなたの回答はとても自然でした。全体的にバンド8.0くらいですね。表現が豊かで、意味のつながりも良かったです。
Okay, do you think people will drive more in the future? If so, driving technology more become more improved. So I think more and more people are using will use a car, including those who couldn't drive for safety concerns.
今回の回答はとても理路整然としていました。バンド8.0くらいです。文法も正確で、未来への推測もきちんと表現できていましたよ。
What kind of music do you enjoy? Recently, I use a J-pop the most. So when I was a university student, I used to listen to the international music, but recently I tend to focus more on the lyrics. Since I'm Japanese, since I understand Japanese more easily, recently I focus on the J-pop.
今回の回答はバンド7.0から7.5ほどですね。全体的に流暢でしたが、最後に少し繰り返しがありました。
Do you prefer live music or recorded music? I prefer a live music because I personally prefer live music. About 2 years ago, I went and seen an artist called Fujikaze, and the atmosphere was completely different from listening to music on my phone. It feels much more it feels much more powerful and immersive. Hey, what's going on?
とてもいい感じでしたよ。この回答はバンド8.0くらいですね。実体験を交えてライブの魅力をよく伝えていました。
Okay, so I personally prefer live music. About 2 years ago, I went to see an artist called Fujikaze, and the atmosphere was completely different from listening music on my phone. It feels much more powerful and immersive.
この回
I
答は素晴らしい
personally
ですね。
prefer light music.
Band
About 2 years ago, I went to see the artist called Fujikaze. The atmosphere is completely different from listening to music on my phone. It feels much more powerful and immersive. Do you prefer light music or recorded music? I personally prefer light music. About 2 years ago, I went to see the artist called Fujikaze, and the atmosphere is completely.
同じ表現の繰り返しが少しありましたが、流暢さや具体例は良かったです。バンド7.5程度ですね。今後は言い換え表現を
I
少
personally
し増や
prefer
す。
live music. About 2 years ago, I went to see the artist called Fujikaze. Hey, what's going on?
特に問題ないですよ。ちゃんと伝わっているので、自信を持って続けていきましょう。
Oh shit.
大丈夫、大丈夫。ちょっと詰まったりしても全体的にちゃんと伝わっているから気にしなくていいよ。
ちょっと待ってね。
焦らなくて大丈夫。落ち着いてもう一度話したいところからやり直せば OK だよ。その調子。ちょっと歌いながらでもリラックスしてまた話したいことがあればいつでもどうぞ。 その調子で次も落ち着いて話していけば大丈夫で
Do
す
you
よ。
prefer live music or recorded music? I personally prefer live music. About 2 years ago, when I see the artist called Fujikaze, and the atmosphere is completely different from listening to music on my phone. It felt much more powerful and immersive. Do you prefer live music or recorded music? I personally prefer live music. About 2 years ago, I went to see the artist called Fujikaze, and the atmosphere is completely different from listening to music on my phone. It felt much more powerful and immersive. Yes. ちょっと待ってね。
この回答は安定していて良いですね。バンド8.0くらいだと思います。同じ構造を使いながらも内容はしっかり伝わっていますよ。
Do you prefer live music or recorded music? I personally prefer live music. About 3 years ago, I went to see the artist called Fujikaze.
途中で詰まって
So
しまいましたが、心
and
配い
the
りませんよ。
atmosphere is completely different from listening to music on my phone. And the atmosphere is completely different from the recorded music on my phone. About 2 years ago, I went to see an artist called Fujikaze. The atmosphere is completely different. これあれか。微妙にコピーしてた方がいいか。ワンチ。I went to see the artist called Fujikaze. あと、 はい、お疲れ様でした。ちょっと一旦ここで区切ります。失礼します。めっちゃ油ついてるやんけ。